Hi everyone, White Witch 110 here. This is a little plaque that my mother got on one of our travels. Happiness is not a station you arrive at, but a manner of traveling. I believe she got this on one of the bumpier travelings that we did. She bought this in Victoria, BC. Jan Handcrafts, that probably doesn't even exist anymore. Now, very simple dress bag. I seen this idea somewhere, can't remember where, but instead of keeping your wrapping paper, tissue, and gift tags in a container like I have, which takes up a little bit of space in our locker, but we'd rather have that open, they said to use one of these and then you can hang them up. So that's what I'll be doing tomorrow. So I can use our bed, and then with the light coming in the window, because we do not have an overhead light in that section of what would have been the living room. Matter of fact, we don't have any overhead lights in there at all. So I'm going to try that out and see how it works. The other thing I was thinking of, looking at these from the Christmas party, is what the heck could I do with these? And then I thought, get a couple of wine glasses, or one, and cut these in petals like I did with the poinsettias, and see how they'll turn out. They're smaller, so I may have to do some of these and then some of these and see how it turns out. So I might get that tomorrow, I'm not sure. Now, speaking of tomorrow night, the family and I and hubby are going to Upper Canada Village. Now, if you check back on one of my other vlogs, two of them as a matter of fact, you'll see that I did do a vlog from Upper Canada as Pumpkin Inferno that they have before Halloween. Well, now they have one where all the lights are on it for Christmas. It's been going for a while, and it's due to end next week. So we were asked if we wanted to go. We said sure. So I'll be videotaping that for you tomorrow night. From what I've seen on my Instagram, it looks really pretty. So I'll get that up to you as soon as possible. Okay. Now I figured with New Year's fast approaching that I would find some information, some more information on it. Now, in regards to the story that I was reading, after I read the stuff from last night, I didn't like it, so I ripped it up and threw it out. Such as the way it goes. Okay, so first of all, some tidbits about Boxing Day. It is traditionally a day off for servants. And on that day, they would receive a gift from their masters, their boss. And in the box would be small gifts, money, and leftover dinner. Some believe this began when parishioners collected money for the poor, and that the boxes were always open on the 26th and the money distributed. Historically, this day has been observed in Canada, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, as well as some European countries. In 1833, that is the first time Boxing Day is ever mentioned in print, and Charles Dickens mentions it in his The Pickwick Papers. The exact roots of Boxing Day are unknown. And I believe The Art of RVing had a question mark in regards to that. So hopefully that answers your questions, or your question. Now, New Year's facts. Millennials, which is ages 23 to 38, spend at least $228.10 New Year's Eve. Usually the average is around $185. Some Canadians will celebrate at Nathan Phillips Square in Toronto or the Parliament Buildings here in Ottawa. There are also celebrations in Niagara Falls, and these three are telecast. In 2015, 1 million people were in Times Square. More than 1 billion people watched worldwide. There was 907 kilograms of confetti that was used. 5,385 kilograms is the weight of the Times Square New Year's Eve crystal ball. 3.6 meters in diameter. It has 2,688 Waterford crystal triangles and 32,256 LEDs. I don't know how you can do this, but it said 16 million colors in billions of patterns. 1907 is the first time the ball dropped, and at that time it was made of iron and wood and weighed 317 kilograms. 400 to enter the restaurant, the Olive Garden, with the best view of Times Square, it would cost you $400 to enter it. There are 6,000 police officers on hand. That would be for the US. Now, in Australia, 1.5 million people line Sydney's coast to see the fireworks. 1 billion via TV. There are 2 shows, 9 p.m. and midnight. There are 7 tons of fireworks, 11,000 shells, 25,000 shooting comets, 100,000 individual events, 45-person crew, 60 kilometers of wire for a 12-minute display. In Canada, in Toronto, expected 30,000 people. You can skate and watch musical acts on stage. There are 818 pyrotechnics that are shot off with 18,142 effects. It is 2 months to plan and 5 days to set up. In 2014, Niagara Falls' budget for New Year's Eve was $3 million. That included the free concerts. 4.2 million people watched via TV. And 1,000 people take the annual polar bear dip in Oakville, Ontario. In Spain, it is custom to eat 12 grapes at midnight. And Samoa is the first place to celebrate New Year's. And Baker Island and Howland Island, which are inhabited, they are the last places to celebrate New Year's. Kind of crazy. Now the next thing that I will be talking about, or the next subject, I guess is how I should say it, is Canadian. It's the Group of Seven, which was brought together in 1920. We have Franklin Carmichael, Lauren Harris, A.Y. Jackson, Frank Johnston, Arthur Lismer, J.E.H. MacDonald, and Frederick Varley. Well, I was trying to find a picture I did have at one time of my favorite photo from the Group of Seven, but Of course, I can't find it now. Okay. Now, Tom Thompson and Emily Carr, ouch, were closely associated with the Group of Seven, but were never members. A.J. Casson became a part of the Group of Seven in 1926. Edwin Holgate became a member in 1930, and Le Morin, I'm not sure, Fitzgerald became a member in 1932. Known for Canadian landscapes, that was their number one, and it was the first national art movement. Okay, I went and got my old phone. That is my favorite painting of Lawren Harris. Absolutely beautiful. As you can see, quite the artist. Those are all Canadian landscapes. And here's one from A.Y. Jackson. Some of his other paintings. Now, Tom Thompson, this is one of his. Now, you may remember I did mention him in regards to, he did more than this, in regards to the haunted locations. There's another one of, there, this one's better. There, you can see, that's different versions of that one. Isn't that pretty? Beautiful. He is the artist that went missing. Now, my favorite. Now, this is a self-portrait of Emily Carr. Now, while my parents and I were in Victoria, we went to visit her house, but unfortunately, it was being renovated or restored, part of it. These are some of hers. I still have an ink sketch that, of course, not an original. That's her right there. And there's some, and I believe I did mention her as well in the Haunted for Halloween. Okay, always good to keep your old phone. Okay. Now, the group that succeeded the Group of Seven in 1933 was called Canadian Group of Painters. The Group of Seven received support by the Harris family, which owned Massey Ferguson Farm Equipment. The Group of Seven did temporarily split up during World War I. Jackson and Varley became war artists, and Jackson enlisted June 1915 and served in France from 1915 to 1917, and he was seriously injured. Lawren Harris enlisted in 1916. He was discharged May 1918 after a nervous breakdown. The other members struggled through wartime in Toronto. 1917, Tom Thompson died on a canoe trip in Algonquin Park. His death remains a mystery. The Group of Seven reunited after the war. They are most famous for painting Muskoka and Algoma regions of Ontario. In 1920, their first exhibition was encouraged by Eric Brown of the National Gallery. Frank Johnston left the group when he moved to Winnipeg. The members began to travel to other parts of Canada to paint. The group's influence was wide by the end of 1931. After J.E.H. MacDonald's death, it was no longer necessary to continue as a group, and they disbanded. 6 members and their wives are buried on the site of the McMichael Canadian Art Collection, which is where the group of 7 paintings are housed. And the 6 members that are buried there with their wives are A.Y. Jackson, Arthur Lismer, Frederick Varley, Lauren Harris, Frank Johnson, and A.J. Casson. Now, A.J. Casson, when I did temp work, one of the buildings that I was temping in for, what was it, skills development, there was some of his paintings, an exhibition put in one of the rooms, and he was actually there. So I got to see him. I smiled and said hello. Of course, I didn't get an autograph. I didn't even know that he was supposed to be there. But that was a fabulous moment in my life, for sure, to meet one of the group of 7. Now, some of the ideas that I have for giving you some information over the coming year are some places here that a few of them you can visit. Parliament buildings here in Ottawa, the Victoria Memorial Museum, the Rideau Canal, Spark Street. I also like to tell you about the history of Fortissimo in Ottawa. Inform you about Expo 67 in Montreal, Expo 86 in Vancouver, which my parents and I attended. Give you some history on the Canadian Tire stores, because you have heard me mention them. The Canadian Mint, Canadian Inventions, Casaloma, which was built by is it Sir Henry Pellet? Yeah, I think it was a Sir. It's been so long since I've remember that history now. So Casaloma, that's in Toronto. The CN Tower, Queen's Park, which is where the provincial government sits. The Canadian National Exhibition, High Park, and here, Britannia Conservation. Let you know about the Canadian flag and our anthem, flags of the provinces, and some of the touristy spots in other Canadian cities. I figure you might be interested in that. And some of the giant roadside structures, artwork that we have here. And I'll also be letting you know about some Canadian personalities. Some you may know, such as Paul Anka, Lauren, I don't know how many of you remember Lauren Green. He's from Bonanza. Mary Pickford, that's going way back. William Shatner, everybody knows him. Some lesser known to a lot of people, Ed Mirvish, Hazel McCallion. People may know who Pierre Trudeau is. Of course, you've heard me speak of William Lyon Mackenzie and William Lyon Mackenzie King. You've also heard me speak of Darcy McGee and Sir Wilfrid Laurier. There's also John A. MacDonald, Ian Miller, and Big Ben, and Yvonne DiCarlo. Now, Ian Miller was part of the Olympic show jumping, and Big Ben was his horse. So that's a few of the people that I'll be giving you some information on. Hopefully you'll find it interesting. I'll be putting in a bit of crafts and a bit of whatever else comes to my mind, which could be scary. No, it's never scary. So for those of you that had today off, I hope you enjoyed it. We, of course, were busy Christmas Day, and yesterday we went out, and today we had a couple of things to do. And still, everything that I wanted to do and get done and sort it through, I just looked and said no. I like to know why it is that when we have these days off, we got great plans to go through things, get things tidied up and sorted out before the new year, and we don't do it. But when we're at work, that's when we seem to be motivated to get it done, but we can't. I don't get it. Very strange. Human nature, I guess. But for my loyals who've come by, thank you for dropping in. Appreciate you very much. And there is actually, I wanted to mention well, for me it's a new. I've just subscribed to this gentleman, and his channel is Abandoned Urbex Canada. The videos that I've seen of his so far have been excellent. They have been really, really good. So check him out. That's Abandoned Urbex Canada. Very nice gentleman. Some farmhouses. Some of the houses are, I think one house was 165 years old. Another one was 180 something. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, and if you're just passing through, please feel free to check out my other videos. If there's any there that you like, feel free to give a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. I do get back to them. Share them out if you think your friends would be interested in them. Do subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you'll know when I upload. And hope you guys have a great Saturday. And I hope your Friday has been good. If you've been at work, hopefully you're relaxing now this evening. And I guess this is going to be, well, it's not really that short, is it? But I think the picture's a lot clearer on this new phone. So, that's it for me tonight. As always, ciao for now.